This is a Keychron Q1 version 1 that has been heavily modified. We're not going to be working on this today. We're going to be working on something new. We're going to be working on the baby brother. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be working on something a little different. It is not going to be a keyboard, even though we have one in front of us here. We're going to be working on something a little different. This is something we're going to check out here in the near future. We're going to do a rebuild of this. But today, we're actually going to be looking at the new Keychron Q0. Now, the reason why this is present on the desk today is because I ordered... Let's see if we can get in here. I ordered the matching color for this Q1, and there's a story behind the Q1, but that will be for another day. But this was supposed to be the matching color. I guess it's close, but as you can see, the size is not identical, but it'll get the job done. So this is the Keychron Q0. As you see inside the box, we get a nice protective cover. We get a little card reminding us that we should keep our pins straight. Thanks, Keychron. We got the little manual here on how it works. And this is just going to be a really simple build today. We got one of these little cheap switch pullers. And let me get some light up here. And then we got one of these cheap little keycap pullers. But it is Keychron branded, so there's that. And it also looks like they've included a little screwdriver down in there. But I'm not going to dig in there to get that out. And of course, we get a nice little braided Keychron cable that's USB-C to USB-C with a little dongle on the end of it to adapt it to USB-A. Alright, so let's go ahead and set all these little goodies aside. Oh look, and I did miss an item. There are little feet that are included in the box as well. Now I was going to do this build a little bit sooner, but I went to go get my matching keycap set for this, and that's why one of the reasons why we're going to be rebuilding it. I kind of sort of misplaced my YMDK Dolch set that goes with this. Never been real too happy with it, to be honest. It's not a bad set. It's just that it's shine through, and my switch choice, many of my switch choices don't allow for RGB to shine through very well. So yeah, so we're going to set this guy aside, and we'll come back to this in a couple of days, and I'm going to make a video on rebuilding this, utilizing the same keycap set and the switches. So set that aside. So speaking of switches, we are going to be using Tecsee purple Pandas. I haven't really used these yet. I've only kind of sampled them. And they are unlubed, so we're really just doing like a dry test run today to see how they feel and see how they sound. And then for keycaps, we're going to be using Tai-Hao. Now, I don't know if I'm even saying that right, and I apologize if I butchered it, but these are very high quality OEM keycaps. I got these from mechanicalkeyboards.com, and these are the Tai-Hao Lavastones. So let me bring these up here, and this packaging and unboxing experience is pretty nice. So this is what we get with this set. It's very interesting. We've got, you know, a very stone-like aesthetic, and we've got white on the mods, and then we've got like this bluish color, which I'm hoping is going to work well with those custom accent keycaps that I had made out of walnut and resin. So looking forward to this. So we're going to be using these guys, so I don't have to dig into it later. Let's go ahead and pull out our bottom layer. So we've got all the goodies here. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to use for the top row. Because as you can see, we've got a lot of blank keycaps here. So we're going to need to use, It's going to be interesting when we get down to the function, or the bottom row, row 4. We'll have to figure something out. Oh, here we go. Here's the row 4 keycaps. So what I'll do is I'll probably just use blanks at the very top here so we can create macros if we need to. But yeah, pretty nice looking keycap set. Pretty good quality. I don't know what else to say about it. It just feels legit. Let's go ahead and set these over here. Okay, with that set aside, I want to disassemble this and kind of really take a look at it. So if you see here, we've got pre-lubed stabilizers. Now, if we look at them though, which is really weird, if we really look at them, we've got lubricant where it connects to the housing, but we don't have any lubricant anywhere else. So for today's run, this is gonna not sound great on this in the stabilizer department, and you can hear that rattle, I'm sure. So these have not been lubed at all. So I was not aware of that because I'm so used to Keychron stabs being okay. We also don't have any foam for the plate, so we may be revisiting this for an actual mod video at some point. But for the sake of today's video and taking a look at the Q1, let's go ahead and use our handy dandy screwdriver set. And remove these 3 screws. We've got a nice alu plate. I'm not sure if we can get an aftermarket palm plate. We want to match sounds, and the Q1 that I run is palm plate. And I'm sorry, there's 4 screws, so there's one additional one down here. So that seems to be it. And there we have our plate. 4 screws. I'm assuming alu, possibly steel. And then the whole PCB just lifts right out. So this is a QMK compatible PCB. Looks pretty nice on the back. These are clearly PCB mount stabs, screw-ins. Not gonna lie, probably just going to mod some of my own cherry clip-ins, and we'll throw some clip-ins in here, unless I can get a couple sets of TX somewhere. And they are becoming more and more in stock, so maybe I can get some TX stabs and throw them in here and the main board. Very interesting. So we are using some sort of hot swap socket again. My blind self still can't see it. I apologize for that, but it's pretty good looking PCB, as you would expect. And again, some rattly boys. So what we would do to these stabilizers to make them a bit more functional is I would recommend unscrewing them and then completely disassembling them, clean off that little bit of lube that's there, and then just completely redo it. The nice thing is that because they did not lube the inside of the stabilizer, there's not going to be any residue there that's going to prevent a holy mod. So you should be able to holy mod these things and actually get some pretty good results out of them. I know the stabs that I have on the Q1 really aren't all that bad. They're very well lubed, but because of the fact that they're lubed through and through, I'm not able to holy mod them and get the holy mod to stick. Inside the case here, we get a little piece of foam. It's not much of anything. More air than foam, I think. So we're going to get a pretty rough sound out of this, but again, I'll revisit this, and we will do a mod video on it where we see what we can do to get a better sound. But unfortunately, because of the alu plate, I am going to have to look into a Numpad plate for this particular one, and we'll probably O-ring it in some capacity. Now let's go ahead and put this back together. All right, she's put back together. Pretty simple, just 4 screws and the whole thing is pretty much done. I'm ready to hear what this is going to sound like. It's one solid piece, so it's not 2-piece like the actual Keychron boards are. Actually, I don't know now that I think about that. It appears to be 1 milled piece. Yeah, it's 1 piece. But anyway, let's go ahead and put some of these purple pandas in it. Again, do as I say, not as I do. You should always support your hot swap sockets. All right, there we go. And I just realized I didn't even give this any consideration. These actually are going to support shine through pretty good, so it's kind of unfortunate that I wasn't able to find my Numpad switches or keycaps. Let's go ahead and top this guy off, and then we'll talk a little bit about it to wrap things up, and talk a little bit about some different things that we're going to be doing in terms of editing that I'd like to get your guys' opinion on. So let's go ahead and wrap this guy up real quick. Alright, so I did leave this keycap off so that way we can take a measurement of it. So let me go grab my calipers real quick. Alright, we got our calipers here. Let's take a look. Now, I have heard mixed things about Tai-Hao. I've heard, so the unboxing experience has been great. The quality of them is pretty nice. There's a little bit of warpage, so I'm kind of curious how the spacebar is going to feel, but it's going to be irrelevant as well. I also have a custom cap that we can utilize here too to bring the accents together. But for now, let's take a look at the actual feel of these right now and see how thin they are, because that's what I've heard, is that they're quite thin. And yeah, we can see here that they are 0.7 millimeters on the front and the back, and the sides look to be a little bit thicker, and they come in at 1 millimeter. So disappointing, but they are OEM caps, so there's going to be quite a bit of material there anyway, considering their height and their width, mostly their height. Also, these stabs are kind of not working great with these long pulls, so might have to revisit that too. But I think that came out kind of nice looking. It looks pretty good. So I don't know. Let's grab the Q1 again and see what they look like side by side. All right, here's the Q1. So Q1, baby brother. I think the colors match. They look right. There might be a slight variance, especially since I like a steep typing angle, so I've got some Hudson Hi-Fi sound isolating or vibration isolating pads on here. So that's just me personally. I'll probably do the same thing to this guy too. So, all right. So yeah, I think this is going to look pretty good. Hopefully these won't throw things off too much. If we look at the blue here, I think the blue will be complementary. So, sound test, I suppose. Sounds very, very metallic. So, with them both on this desk, there's definitely a lot of looping here. Of course, there's a bunch of stab rattle. So I may do what I have done to the Q1. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but we got a little bit of a rattly stab on that side too. Now this is currently running Lilac T1s, Duroc Lilac T1s. We've got their custom caps. These are YMDK, which I do feel are a little bit better quality than Tai-Hao, but they're shine through, and while this will work with shine through, I think we're gonna go with this route for now because I do kind of like that aesthetic a little bit more. And you know, we've got palm plate weight mods. We've got a mid plate here that acts as the force brake, but also adds additional height to it so we can put those weights in there. And we'll talk about what that weight mod is when we go to mod this. But I think we'll have to do some of these same techniques to this because this sounds awful. I have a $16 Numpad that sounds better than this, but it is pretty, it is functional, it feels well built, and for its price, if you can get it from a vendor where you don't have to pay a bunch of shipping, I think it's very reasonable. So yeah, definitely I would pick one of these up if you're looking for an inexpensive high quality Numpad. I think they come in, as far as I know, they're less expensive than the Idabao options, and then of course quite a bit less expensive than a lot of your higher end alu models that are out there. The only thing I can think of that's nice like this and as, you know, value oriented would probably be the GK21 SX or one of those GK21 variants, because the GK21 gives you wireless, but the base, you know, they have a plastic case rather than an alu case. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the editing techniques that we're using today. I've had some feedback that people would like for me to not do time lapses and skip straight to the end result, and that would shorten the videos by quite a bit, and I think open it to larger audiences. But those of you who've been here and watching the videos and hanging out with me during the builds, you know I use, you know, chill mixes and whatnot to deliver a really chill experience. So if you would prefer that I keep with the transitions where it's just a sped up build with a little bit of music and about, you know, a minute or two of putting the keycaps on, putting another minute or two of putting the switches on, etc., let me know. If you prefer the cut style, which we'll be using today, I'd like to get your feedback on that too, and just let me know what's best for you. But yeah, thank you guys all for hanging out with me today. I look forward to getting this done. This may be a second video this week that we do. There's no sound test of the Numpad. We're just kind of taking a look at it today. So again, this is the Q0 from Keychron. I'm pretty impressed. You know, I'm liking it so far. Not impressed by the sounds, but the feel of it is nice. And we'll look into getting this modded up and see what we can actually do with it. So thank you again, everyone, for joining me today. And I hope this short little video gave you some insight on what to expect with the Q0. And until next time, y'all have a good one.